Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on UPRN FM 105.3. Oh, geez, it's going to be a torturous Tuesday for sure.
Yeah, it is. Torture Tuesday. Yep.
Welcome to Chasing Prophecy on the UPRN FM 105.3 in New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. I'm Jenny Nicassio, along with my co-host Sean Kelly and the fabulous Trish Mo. We're live in New Orleans,
Fabulous. Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, you get
Torture
fabulous. I
Tuesday.
get nothing. Gee, I'm depressed now. Damn.
I'm sorry. Nothing's working tonight. Now the cameras are working. Our entry was not right. That was the ending. Sorry, folks. I know you like to see our funny Halloween pictures. Take a deep breath and sigh. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
it's a wonderful 13 degrees in the Berg. There's tornadoes in Kansas and
It's
thunderstorms.
like 70 something, or well, probably not now, but it was today.
But we have an interesting show for you tonight. And I know we're always looking for interesting guests, and I think we found one. We're always fascinated with the afterlife, some of us more than others. And the unfortunate thing about it, we're so preoccupied with the afterlife, we're not enjoying the life we have now. And that's what I want to stress now before we go on into the paranormal investigations with our special guest. We got to think about what's going on right now in our lives, and we got to embrace what's going on no matter what you're going through. It's a lesson to be learned, and we have to enjoy our life and not worry so much about the afterlife. Okay, just want to get that clear, a disclaimer that I know a lot of us, most of the time, people who have lost someone, we want to connect with the other side. And I know myself, I'm one of those because I lost a lot of members of my family. And I've had a lot of experience, just like our guests and like our co-host Sean Kelly. We are going into another dimension right now. I think we're going into, I wouldn't call it, it's not Mercury retrograde or anything like that. It's just, I think we're going into another sphere of what's going on right now. And I just want to take that moment to pause and just reflect before we get started, to enjoy the present and don't be so preoccupied with what's going to happen in the future or the other side. Okay, our guest tonight seems like he's a really cool guy. I read his book. He has a book that used to be on Amazon. He took it off, but you can, I'm sure if he has a copy, he'd let you read it until he gets it republished. But when I was reading the book, his name is Bill. Hope I don't screw up your name, Bill Heiland. I think that's how you say it. But before I introduce you, I hope I didn't screw it up. But you can always correct me because we know we have a problem with pronunciations of words. I think it's the Italian father I had growing up who was broken English. I think he did a job on me. But Bill's interest, okay, in the paranormal has been with him for many years, okay, just like all of us. And in the late 1980s, he had an experience, which I thought was pretty cool, with one of his family members in the home that changed his way he thought about the paranormal from that moment on. Unfortunately, at that time, talking about the paranormal was not the thing, it wasn't hip, it was taboo. Like, I think we can always say that back in the 80s, 90s. And if he had a discussion with his family or anybody, I think it was a little nuts, okay? But I had that feeling too. But in the following decade, it became a bit more mainstream, and that's when Bill got more into it, and he started a paranormal research group, and he was very skeptical at first, like I am, and he wanted evidence, and I think that's what we all want, and he wanted to collect evidence. So his goal was to help others, okay? Avoid the pitfalls. And he got out of his paranormal in a group, and I'm sure he's going to tell you all about that. But we're going to go down memory lane with Bill tonight and his personal experiences from investigations and also some of the people he met along the way, which will be cool. So I'm going to make sure I got this up and running. So welcome to Chasing Prophecy, Bill. Did I screwed up your last name, huh?
No, you said it correctly. It's
for the
Heiland.
first time.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Congratulations! Damn.
I'm excited. That's
Hi,
cool.
Bill.
My apologies about my
Okay.
webcam, guys.
That's okay. The cameras aren't working. It seems like things happen on Tuesday nights here. I'm not sure why. I don't know if I wouldn't say we're jinxed. I think maybe we are, because we always are open to Torture Tuesday. And that was from Jason, who's not with us tonight. But Bill, I went over a lot of stuff in your book, and I found it very interesting. And I like the fact that you were skeptical, and I think I am too. So let's just start off. I mean, you can tell your little story, how you got into it, and how you had a little visitor in that home. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. And ladies and gentlemen who are listening or watching, remember to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We depend on you, and we need your subscriptions so we can start selling merchandise. And I have a lot of mock-up designs that my son made for me that are absolutely phenomenal. But we can't do that unless we get to 1,000 subscribers. And remember to like us on YouTube and Facebook. And there's so many different ways to watch us. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on Facebook. And I don't know if the website still is able to play the videos. I know we used to be able to play all the videos. But go ahead, Bill. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, my name is Bill Heiland. I live in Dover, Pennsylvania, with my wife Michelle. I've been investigating the paranormal since 2011. And as you know, I wrote a book, which I'll get into a little bit later as far as how that came to be. It was just total accident that even happened. But anyway, my interest started in 1989. I was at my mother-in-law's home. I was waiting for my wife. I was going to meet her there. And we were the only two in the house. And I was in the living room watching television, and she's in the kitchen drinking coffee and reading a newspaper. Now, back then I was a young man. I was just out of the military. I was healthy. I was flexible. I was laying on the floor, like a kid does, with his elbows on the floor, holding my head up, and I'm just watching television. And sooner or later, she came walking through the living room, and my legs were in the aisleway, so she had to step over my legs, and she, my peripheral vision, I saw her go up the steps, and I really didn't give any thought about what had just happened, although except the fact that I was aware that it happened. And about 10 seconds later, she asked me if I wanted a cup of coffee. And I mean, at that moment, every hair on my body stood on end. I was really set back by this because she's still in the kitchen. And I know that someone walked through that living room and stepped over my legs. I felt the air move across my legs. I felt the floorboards underneath me move. And I saw her go up those steps. And I got off the floor and I went into the kitchen, and like I said in the book, I must have had one hell of a look on my face because, she asked me what happened. And, I was kind of scared to even mention what I thought that just happened, in her house. I didn't want to freak her out, And I said, well, I thought you went upstairs until you asked me for a cup of coffee. And then she just kind of calmly looked at me and said, well, that was just Mrs. Pence. And she just got back to reading her newspaper. Now, Mrs. Pence was the wife of the man that built the home back in the 1700s. And there's a lot of historical information that they found over the decades in that house. But to this day, it's never been mentioned again. She never brought it up. I never brought it up. And I could just only assume that she had similar experiences. And that's how I got interested in it. And it like I said, it took me a few days to get my head around what had happened. And I still don't have my head wrapped around what happened.
You have no idea who that was. I mean, because you were really convinced it was your was that your grandmother?
My mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law.
I was absolutely sure it was her until she had mentioned the coffee, and she's still in the kitchen to my right, and I just, I was stunned. Because up to that point, you couldn't have told me anything that would have convinced me that, there was anything real about the paranormal or even the possibility of it. And in about 20 seconds, that changed. And like I said, it was always in the back of my mind. It's just back then, it just wasn't mainstream. It wasn't something that you could just openly go out and do investigations or talk to people, without some kind of ridicule or something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And then a few years went by, and my wife and I were at the grocery store, and there's a community bulletin board there where people could post flyers and things like that. And buried way in the back, there was a little business card, and there was a paranormal research group that was looking for investigators. And my wife said, hey, why don't you grab it? Check it out. It might be fun for you. And here I am. So it's all her fault. So, but no, she's really great about it. She has no problems with me spending all these these crazy hours out of state and things like that. She's fully supportive of what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting how you were a little skeptical, and I like the different. Tell us about the different experiences you had with your research groups, and why did you get out of it? Was it you weren't real quite? Was there like a disagreement? Oh, that's right.
Well,
You guys, they thought it was more like a social club.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, even the people that I do work with now, they know where I'm coming from, and they understand that for me it's serious. I put a lot of work into this, and I put a lot of research into it, and all we can ask is that we just try to do the work equally because it is a big workload.
Yeah,
Anybody that's ever done paranormal investigations understands what kind of work's involved.
Absolutely.
And I mean,
can
you
I just
think
interrupt you real quick, Bill? We're having some issues. No one can see us anywhere. I got a
really.
couple different messages. I'm not sure if Joe actually recorded it or are we live because
It says live in the
It says
corner.
live.
I know it says live, but it could be just recording the story. It could just be recording. No one. It's not on Facebook. It's not on YouTube. It's nowhere.
Okay.
Sean, do you want to see if you can grab Joe to make sure we're connected?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
I just want to make sure, Bill, because I don't want you to go into your whole if we're not even on. Yeah, it says 000. No, it's not on any of the channels. I think it's only on the one channel. It's the UFO.
Here, I'm gonna go to our face from a different.
Yeah, I don't see us on anything either. I just got 2 messages from people that always listen. I don't want to have to.
Look at yourself.
Oops.
Worrying about music.
You guys can't hear that, can you?
What you need.
Yes.
I don't see us on Facebook. I don't see us on anything. No, we're not live anywhere. I wonder what he hit.
Well, I bet it's not streaming to.
It's not streaming anywhere. I don't know where he. And I.
Oh wait, I see it on UFO Paranormal. Is that the one that you said?
Yeah, that's the only one. Everything else is shut off. And is there any? I don't see anybody on. It says we're streaming, but it's not streaming on. It's not working. Is it really? Is it live? Can you see that it's live on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can share it to other platforms.
Definitely not. Okay, let me see if I can. I can't do 2 things at once. Let's see. I'm sorry, Bill. I just don't want you to
That's
tell your
right.
whole
This is
story. No one
fake.
can hear it except for the downloads. I mean,
It's happening all over the place, obviously.
maybe there's some kind of hacking going on. Well, you know what? When I called asked my weather, it said it was 81 degrees and it was a chance of thunderstorms. I was like, wait a minute, why are you saying that?
Because you all are mirrored with Kansas. Remember, that's what I told you. I'm serious, and so that's an interesting thing. Actually, I just remembered to talk about with
Where are
Bill.
you? Trish, I'm on the channel. I don't see it live. It's not playing.
Yeah, it is. It's playing on Facebook.
Not on Facebook. That's the only play on his page. It's not on YouTube.
Well, we might be banned from YouTube right now. They've been
Really?
well, like radio shows or I don't know. Something's going on with YouTube right now.
We're only streaming on one show on the Facebook page. Is that right?
Well, I think we're
Oh well. We'll just blow it off. I can't help it if it's
I don't
not.
know. Something's going on with YouTube right now.
Yeah.
We're only streaming on one show.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
We're not on YouTube.
No, Pittsburgh. What are we on?
It's just I'm gonna see if I can reconnect it.
I don't know. Something's going on with YouTube right now.
Yeah.
I wonder. It says we're live, but we're not. We're not on YouTube.
No. Pittsburgh.
Oh well. Are we on Twitch TV? I'm not sure. I'm
Twitch
on
probably because Twitch is one. My show yesterday was only on like 4 channels because all the other ones have with the media.
You're not on Pittsburgh Paranormal either. because he doesn't have you listed. He didn't connect us. That's why. Oh, we're not connected to. I'm trying to reconnect to Pittsburgh Paranormal. We should be playing on there now. Anybody else, guys? Anybody else that we're not connected to? No? I can't do. Oh well. Okay, somebody messed up. Not us. Oh well. I'm sorry about that, Bill. But go ahead, Bill. So what was the most? Okay, now I have some questions for you.
Wait, what are y'all weirdos doing?
Oh, we're not playing on anything except I just reconnected.
You're playing on everything but UFO Paranormal and International.
We're not playing on any of the Facebook pages. I just try to connect Sean's page. I don't know if it's playing now.
You're on News on the Flip Side, UFO Paranormal Radio, UFO Undercover, PPS, which you must have just put on.
Yeah, I just did.
Twitch and Twitter and my personal page.
Yeah, we weren't on any YouTube pages.
Yeah, you're on one YouTube page, UFO and Extraterrestrials.
Oh, I don't even know that one. Okay.
Yeah, the other two are suspended. Say thank you to your fellow host. Yes, they're on 7 days. Well, they're on 7 day suspension.
Oh, I wasn't told.
Yeah,
hey, do me a favor. Yeah. Okay. So I can't share. Okay. I can't share the other UFO page.
Hold on. I'll give it to you. Give me a second.
I don't know.
If I can pull it out of here, it'll be easier. Let me do it this way, and this way, and okay. Let me get out of here so we're not double audioing.
Where'd you send it to? Messenger?
Wait, no, I'm putting it right here in the room.
Oh, right in the room?
Yeah, I can send it to you on your. Hold on, I'll send it to you right here because I got your Messenger page open.
Okay, because I
there
can't.
You go. Yeah, now you got it.
All right, let me see. Okay, I'll send it to them. Okay, thanks again. Okay, guys. All right, Bill. So,
and guys, always remember, we're always on the website. It plays automatically when you log in.
Oh, so that's what I ask you. So we're playing right now on the website?
Yeah, because the website's where Shoutcast and all this. That's where all of our outbound service pick us up at.
Okay, cool. Website. All right.
They've all each got their own Shoutcast things that makes it safer that way.
Okay. All right, Bill. Okay. Sorry about
problem.
that.
That's okay. I forgot. I meant to tell you at the beginning of the show, and I forgot. I got into something else.
Okay. All righty then. Okay. So, Bill, when you started your we already talked. You mentioned your ignorance to critical thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's something I think a lot of paranormal investigators kind of don't think about. They don't use that side of the brain. So.
What?
Okay. Don't take. Okay. So
what?
Huh?
My other side of the brain. What?
I didn't say you. I said other paranormal investigators don't use their critical thinking when it comes to evidence.
Okay.
Okay. So, Bill, what led you to that? I'm sorry. What led you to that consideration, like that you should use your critical thinking? Because I know you mentioned that a lot of people just go by, oh, it must be a ghost. Some of the things that you see. You still there, Bill? Or did I lose you?
Yeah. I can remember exactly when it happened. It seemed like every time we would go on paranormal investigations, it didn't matter where we were at, whether we were, in an abandoned location or a cemetery, or it didn't matter where we were. We took a lot of photographs, and it seemed like, we had these photographs of orbs no matter where we went. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of them. Now, I looked at that and I thought, this is kind of weird that, there can't possibly be that many spirits around us all the time. Not to say that they're not. It's just that it was an overwhelming number of orbs in these pictures. So, I thought maybe there may have been something else to it. So I get online and started reading, and there was there's a skeptic that, I was working with and I still talk to on occasion, who happens to be a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And he explained the phenomenon called backscatter. And what backscatter is when an airborne particulate gets too close to your lens and your flash illuminates it and it makes it look like a fuzzy round circle. So I thought, okay, if just say that's the case 99% of the time, and just say 1% of the time orbs are real, how can you tell them apart?
Mm-hmm.
So there again, I did some more reading from other researchers and everything, and there were three main characteristics that jumped out in all the research that I was doing. And one of them is that a real orb is supposed to be self-illuminating. And number two, it should be three-dimensional in its environment, not a flat pancake. And the third is it's supposed to be round, not some oval shape or something that looks like your grandmother, you're facing it or whatever people are seeing. So, from that point on, I stepped back and I thought to myself, if this is one of the big misconceptions that's going on in paranormal research, what other tools are being used that, are completely misunderstood? And that's where things changed for me. And when I got together with the guys that I work with now, when I was able to get away from running a research group and actually pursuing, the knowledge in research, I started looking at all the equipment and started looking at different things and the incorrect ways that tools are being used based on current hypotheses. And they vary from group to group, but that's how my thinking started to change. I started looking at things a little more in depth. And it's amazing at how many misconceptions are out there that people are just completely unaware of. I don't understand why people don't take the time to try to learn about the tools that they're using. I heard a quote one time that said, we can't just keep walking around in the dark waving equipment when we have no idea what it's reading, what it's measuring, or how to interpret the information that's being gathered. And if you're doing that, then, what exactly is it you're doing?
Well, I was going to say something to that. As a medium, I see it from your perspective, because every time I go which I usually go by myself, but then when I join people, I think the same thing. I'm like, why does everybody come in this place or wherever it is, and do the same thing? It's like a circus, they're doing the same performance over and over, just waiting for somebody to say, like a ghost to jump out and somebody says boo and everybody, but they're not digging deeper into the actual investigation. I mean, sure, people look in newspapers and stuff and say, oh, so here in the house was built here, but they don't actually get into why other phenomena is happening.
Yeah.
Whether it's the land or environment or, whatever.
Right. And there's a lot of things going on in the environment that people are completely unaware of when they're using these tools. And I can get into that if you guys would like. I mean, if you want to talk about, I don't know. I mean, the big hot button topic is the ghost box, and I'm not sure if that's something you want to get into or not, because I'm not sure your position on it. I think it has potential, but not the way it's being used right now. I think here, as far as the critical thinking part goes, look at this is a perfect example, the EMF meter. Has anyone ever been able to track down and read any information pertaining to where this all came from, that ghosts or spirits can manipulate EMF in the first place? I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying I can't find any information leading back to where it started. So I have a hard time believing, you know what I mean? It's where are the facts when it comes to this? And there just aren't any. I think there's a lot of beliefs, a lot of coincidences, I think, that people look at wrong. The best thing I can figure is maybe somebody was doing a real-time EVP session. They recorded an EVP, and at the exact same time, they had a strike on an EMF meter, and the two correlated, and they assumed that, that ghosts or spirits somehow manipulated the EMF when that EVP was recorded. That's the best I can come up with.
I'd like to say something here. Now, I'd like to get back to you on the orbs, okay? Now, I do believe that, yes, there are particulates that are in the air that are caused, and it's dust, no doubt about it being dust. But here's my deal. Whenever I have a personal experience where I know that I'm being touched and somebody takes a picture and there's this really, really, really bright, round orb, to me, that's a spirit. Then there's no doubt about it. Whenever I have that incident or experience and someone snatches a picture and it's right on my hand, that's a spirit. And about the EMF, okay, we go around to the room. I don't know how you use it, but we go around the K2 meter. If that's what you're talking about, right?
Well, any EMF meter in general.
All I know is that from my experience, and I've been doing it for a very long time, okay? And I'm not knocking your research, Bill. Trust me, I'm not. In fact, I'm just saying that it works. We do get responses. And
well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I mean, when you're sitting in a room and you're talking to a spirit, and all of a sudden you ask a question and it freaking goes off, you know? It goes all the way up to the red. And you're nowhere near that K2 meter. To me, that's a spirit. I have no doubt in my mind.
All right. Well, here's something I'm not sure how familiar you are with it, but especially a K2 meter, number one, they're very sensitive. And number two, they're very susceptible to any electromagnetic frequencies coming from any man-made communication sources, including CB radios, walkie-talkies, cell phones. So for me, it's impossible to, I don't want to say that you can't control the environment to the point where it's not going to detect some type of EMF that's man-made, and it's impossible to tell the difference.
Even if it's in the room where there's no products around?
It could be a CB radio from miles away. It could be a cell phone tower from miles away. There's no way to tell. That's the problem.
Do you go by, what about going by the actual messages you're given? I mean, okay, for example, say, so in my life, and this has been witnessed, I've taken pictures, whatever, this is how spirits a lot of times will communicate with me. Especially if I'm somewhere else, the TV will come on and it'll literally start saying words across the screen. My radio will come on and it'll say words across the screen. So if I'm in a cemetery and my car radio, they type the words of the stations and the songs now. Well, it'll completely change stations and say something, and the name will pop up of like a headstone that's right next to my car. So how do you, I guess, differentiate between, well, that's one thing. But another thing I was going to say about the EMF, where did it start? I don't know where it is, but I have a book that I recently found at an old bookstore about mediumship from the early 1800s. And they talked about different ways spirits communicated through electromagnetic frequencies. And that was before, they didn't have, cell phones and anything back then.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting. You have to send the title of that book to me. I'm kind of interested now. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying that it can't detect something paranormal. I'm not saying you can't use it to communicate with something paranormal. The issue that I have with it is there's no way to tell the difference. Other than your faith. And for me, I don't trust my faith because I'm the kind of person that I just have to know, and I don't like to guess. And like I said, any of this equipment that anyone uses, I'm not saying that it can't detect something paranormal. I'm just looking at the elephants in the room that it seems that everyone else is ignoring is all.
Yeah, I agree with you to that extent.
I mean, there again, it's not to offend anyone, it's not to upset anyone. It's just the approach that I take, and
I respect that, Bill. I do.
I mean, trust me, I do some crazy, goofy stuff on investigation. I mean, you ask any of the people that I investigate with. I mean, I do some off the wall stuff that make absolutely no sense. But yeah, when push comes to shove, and first of all, you're never going to see me post something that says that I captured a ghost or I captured a spirit. These are just findings, and I don't like to make those claims because I can't prove it one way or the other. But I'm more than happy to share everything I've ever found, or excuse me, anything I've ever documented. I'm happy to share with anyone and put it out there for peer review to hear people's opinions.
Yeah, I was going to tell you that I pulled up your YouTube channel, and if there's anything that stands out that that might be something that that you consider good evidence, let me know and I'll share it and we can listen to it and play it.
Well, I don't post most of the investigations on YouTube. Number one, it's just way too many pieces of files. Now, I did send you a link. I'm not sure if you got it or not.
I did not get that. I mean, I was looking on your Facebook page. You have some shadow figures. You have so many different, like you caught a ghost, like a EMF. There was there's a lot of them. You have a lot of videos.
I sent you a link on Facebook today that.
On Facebook? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Facebook. Yeah, because what I had to do is I had to put it in Dropbox because I couldn't upload it to my web server because the file was too big. So
okay.
I sent you a second link.
I'm gonna
now
I have to sign up for it. Okay.
Well,
have you ever been on an investigation with a medium?
No, but I know one. And it's fact, it's funny you even bring that up because it was something I thought about today. You do that a lot because I watch your show and it seems like you always know what people are thinking. But I can get into this to you because
I don't purposely do that. I promise. I don't read into people's thoughts.
But it's a very interesting story and I'll share it with you because there again, just like when I first started investigating the paranormal, the guys that I'm doing work with right now knew an investigator, knew a psychic medium, and they kept telling me stories about this woman. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. And they said, I'm telling you, wait till you meet her. I'm telling you, she's a real thing. And I'm like, okay, well, one day I'll meet her. Well, we were doing an event, a few miles from my house at a hotel, and we'd done an investigation at this hotel, and we were going to do a presentation on the findings and everything, and this woman, Lisa, was supposed to be there. So I was going to finally meet her. And a little while, I was talking to people at the dinner tables, and the door opened up and Lisa came in and the guy said, hey, Lisa's here, great. And from the minute that woman walked in the door, her eyes locked onto me, and I never met her before. And she just kind of locked onto me and stared at me. And it was a little creepy, to be honest with you. And then she just walked around and started talking to everyone, and eventually she made it over to our table. And she introduced herself to me, and I said, hey, how you doing? It's nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And we did some small talk for about 5 or 10 minutes. And she walked over to me and she grabbed me by the shoulder and she said, Bill, do you have a second? And I said, yeah. So I took about 2 or 3 steps to the side and she bent over and she whispered something in my ear that I know without a shadow of a doubt that I am the only person on this planet that knows. And I could feel the blood running out of my head. I mean, I was so floored by what she told me because this was something that happened like 30 years ago when I was pretty young. And like I said, my parents don't know, my spouse no one knows this but me. Well, now she does too. And I actually had to leave the building. I mean, it freaked me out to the point where I'm like, this is impossible for her to know what she just told me.
Yeah.
And she was very calm about it. She just whispered it to me and she stepped back and looked at me and she must have just saw my face turn white. So I'm convinced that there are people who are truly gifted. I'll never say that there aren't, but there's also a lot of people that I'm not so sure about.
I agree with you.
That's with
100%.
any industry.
Yep.
Now, to tell you how far energy travels, and okay, first of all, I'm the biggest skeptic. And if you watch the show, you know that I don't necessarily believe in psychics or mediums. I think that I've either already lived this before, so it's just on repetition that I already know these things, or B, something else is telling me these things. So, I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe in them. I guess I'm saying I don't know how the information, I know how I get a lot of the information, yes, from other things, spirits and things like that. But as far as it being organically just something that popped up in my head, no, I don't believe in that. But I will say, all weekend, I had a dream about someone named Lisa. All of a sudden, I'm like, who do I know that's named Lisa? I only know one Lisa, and I had just talked to her, and I'm like, no, it's different energy. So that's how far we can even feel, other people that are like us, their energy from halfway across the world, for that matter. So
yeah, that's true. That's true, Trish. That's true.
I found a couple of clips. We have the ball one.
Yeah,
Is that a good one?
that's not bad. Yeah, I mean, all the ones I
It's
sent you are decent.
there's the EVP. I'm not sure. I wonder why. Baby crying.
Oh, that was creepy. That was at the Burlington County Jail in New Jersey.
I'm gonna see if I can figure this out because this is a different. This is kind of hard to do because it's a Dropbox. Let me see if it'll let me play
While you're
that.
doing that, real quick, before I forget, I just had a theory about certain orbs and dust particles. So I'm a photographer also, and I've told everybody this, like, before live pictures came out on like iPhones and stuff. I thought the same thing on a lot of photographs. But then I was thinking, have you all ever, like when you're doing laundry or something, and say the sun's shining through a window and you can see the lint, the dust particles.
Yeah, those are.
Yeah.
They're static in the air. You say you take the, what do you call it, the dryer sheet out or whatever, or blanket, staticky. And all those dust particles and that lint gravitate towards wherever the static energy is. So last night on my show, I had talked about green fireballs around radioactive sites. And it made me think during this storm, because there's a lot of electricity, I channel a lot during storms and stuff, but also, what if, yes, they're dust particles, but spirits have a really hard time, a lot of them have a hard time manifesting in a physical manner that a person can see. Now, what if all those dust particles were attracted to that ball of energy, which is static electricity, just enough to make a little tiny, and then it wouldn't necessarily be perfectly round. Yeah, you could take a picture.
I like that. I like that. I like that a lot.
Because I was thinking of the lightning, the fireballs, as far as lightning goes, because I said maybe these green orbs, because they're always green as far as around the radioactive sites, maybe they aren't an intelligent entity because people say they followed them. Nobody's ever said they actually got, even mediums and stuff, never said they got like a message necessarily from some of the colored ones. Well, what if they're actually attracted and following the natural lines, the natural electrical line, the grid lines on the earth, and a person? Obviously we're electromagnetic energy. So if there's an electric ball, it's going to follow the only person in the room. You know what I mean? Like
it's just attracted to energy.
Those things that you used to, you could put those globes, the static that you could put your finger on and it would follow the. Anyway, sorry.
That's all right.
That's why I have a hard time with orbs, because if you shake up your blanket, you can see all the particles, and you take a picture, you're going to see orbs, and there's going to have a little nucleus in it. I don't know why.
That's sometimes too.
I've never seen a green orb on camera before. I've never had the experience to see one.
Do you want me to send you one? I got one.
Sure. I'm not debunking orbs, and I know how you said the energy follows the energy. It's like if you put a comb on your hair and your hair stands up, and if you take a picture, you should try it, Trish, and take a picture of it and see what you come up with. I don't know. I have a hard time with orbs, but there was one particular orb that my mother saw years ago. She saw a bubble. Now that's totally different than an orb. She actually saw a clear, bubble, sort of like a smoke bubble that was huge. And she wasn't doing laundry, and she got a calming sensation when it happened. So it's something like that, because you're seeing it with the naked eye. Orbs are just unless you actually see an orb do something if you can catch an orb doing a dance or doing going up to you and then leaving, like they're hovering, and that's totally different, and you only catch that on video camera. You don't catch it at still.
Right, exactly.
So Bill, you said you have an orb? Do you have a picture of an orb? I'm trying. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, because it's really difficult to do the Dropbox, because I can't, even though I pull it up, I can't find it to share it, which is really irritating. But I see that you have a ball drop. Now, Then you have a Halton Mansion, 3 bangs. I like that. You know, when you hear the 3 bangs, that's the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
The strange thing about that video was I had a Kinect camera set up on a second floor, and there were clearly 3 loud bangs on the window. And like I said, this is a second story, and this was in a very old property where the camera was set up in a summer house on the second floor. And there's no way anybody could have reached that window. And it was clearly 3 distinct taps on that glass. And in fact, the Kinect's audio array, you could see where the needle's pointing. It tracks the direction of the sound, where it's coming from. And the really strange thing about that is that needle jumped over to that window, towards that direction, like 2 seconds before the raps happened, which was really strange.
Okay.
There was no audio information coming in, yet that needle still jumped over in that direction. So I'm not sure what that was all about, but that was really interesting.
Let me see if I can.
Almost any medium or psychic you talk to, and even the book that I just got actually will confirm that. And in my own experience from this, any time, and I'm not talking little knocks or anything, unexpectedly, when you haven't asked for it, when you hear a confirmation and a knock or a tap, it's almost 100% of the time demonic.
Wow, man.
Really?
Because, and a lot of times it does come, and people will answer the door and stuff, and there'll be.
I never heard that.
Why would you call that demonic?
Because that's how they answer. And I had a dream about this a long time ago, because it said 2 knocks this and 3 knocks this, and I'm like, what would that? And then later on in life, after being possessed a few times and having these, like every time it happened. If you look at other stories, it's the same thing.
But I've been on investigations where it's not hitting on the K2 meter, and we ask it to knock on the wall, and it knocks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about if there is a knock on a door or a window. A knock on a door or window, because what it is, it's a trap almost. It's like a horror movie, and the person goes to the door and nobody's there, or the window and nobody's there. And this could, you all know my theory of demonic entities being interdimensional beings or ETs or whatever. So they go to the door, open it, and then that invites that entity in, and they don't see anything there. They don't even notice it happened. But it's almost 100% that, and it's been documented in a lot of places.
Some people even call it the 3 knocks of death. It means someone's going to die too. It depends on what kind of superstition you are. But let me see if I can pull this up.
That's why I do not ever open a window or a door. If there is, like, if it happens in my house and something falls over, there's a knock on the wall or something. Yeah, that's different. That could just be any spirit.
Hey,
a door.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
Are you got another book going to be starting up, or where is your next investigation? If you wish to share that.
Oh, no, I'll share it with you. Actually, right now, I don't have any plans on a book. And I told you earlier that I'd get back to that. And let me explain to you how it all happened. Ever since I started doing this paranormal research, and I started doing actual research into the tools and getting more experience with my investigations, I hooked up with a few people that had web pages and paranormal community web pages, that kind of thing, that I wrote a lot of articles for. And over the years, these articles just piled up and piled up and piled up. And one day I thought, my God, I got enough stuff here to write a book. And well, that's pretty much what I did. I thought, well, why not? So I put it together, and I tried to, put everything that I had in a chronological order at first. And then I talk a lot about the different tools and what I learned about them and things like that. So it was kind of accidental that it happened. And there again, I didn't do it to make money or anything like that. I just did it, for a close group of friends and myself, and just so I could say, why not? I did it,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it's out of print now, but I still have digital copies that everyone's welcome to have a copy of. I could put the
Why
link in
don't
the
you put
chat
it
box
back
right
up on?
now.
Why don't you put them back up on Amazon? The book.
Well, because to be honest, it really wasn't worth it as far as, first of all, I
Because
wasn't in it for the
Amazon
money.
doesn't charge you anything to put the book up.
No, but what it came down to was the cost to print and the profit margins after everything's said and done.
Would yours do an ebook? An ebook, there's no charge.
Right. An ebook, there's none. Right. But my interest was to sell it in paper cover, and I sold all the ones that I had print. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's really. I thought it was easy reading. I thought it was easy to read. I thought it was interesting. I think you should.
I mean, maybe someday
Talking from a point of an author to an author, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call myself an author.
I'm just a guy. Well, it was very good. I thought it was. Hey, anytime you write a book, you're considered an author. So don't ever think that you're not, because it was really interesting.
So, do you have any investigations coming up, buddy?
Yeah, actually, the ball drop video she was just talking about was at Poatstown Elementary School in Ohio. We're headed back there in a few months. We're going to do actually a weekend trip this time because it's like a 9-hour drive, I think, from here.
Oh my!
And yeah, we drove it 9 hours. We did an investigation all night. We slept for a few hours, had to get up and drive all the way back home again.
I know those days.
And we were miserable. It was
yes.
We couldn't think straight, So this time we're going to take a long weekend. But the interesting thing that happened there was the gentleman that owns the building. He actually used to be a student at that school, and later in life he ended up buying this building, and he converted the back part of the school into his home where him and his wife live. But anyway, this gentleman has wheelchairs on different levels of the school to help him get around. He's an older gentleman, and he has some trouble getting around. So he has wheelchairs everywhere. And there was one downstairs in the basement, and the one corridor in the basement led into the gymnasium. So we put this wheelchair in the middle of the gymnasium, and we put a basketball on the seat, and we set our cameras up, and we just kind of walked away to set up all the other equipment. It's still daylight at this point. And Don, one of the investigators I was with us, come up and said, "Bill, did you put that ball on the chair or on the wheelchair, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, it's on the floor." And I'm like, "Get out of here." He said, "No, it's on the floor." So we immediately went back to the gymnasium, and the basketball's on the floor. So I grabbed my camera immediately, took it upstairs, hooked it up to the computer, transferred the files over, and we watched that ball pop out of that damn chair and bounce across the floor. The really crazy thing about this is that if anyone has ever seen a wheelchair, the seats are like cupped. They're like a bowl. And I just cannot get my head around how this ball dislodged from this chair without it being physically pushed. But yeah, we had it on video. Unfortunately, I mean, the camera was a little bit away. We didn't have it right on top of the chair. We had it back so it could cover the whole gymnasium. But that was really interesting. That was the main thing that happened while we were there last time. There were a lot of EVPs that were documented. We heard a lot of sounds, a lot of odd sounds. We had some shadow play on the second floor upstairs that we all watched with our eyes at the same time. Everyone that was there saw it. It was crazy. So we're gonna go back for another visit this time. And we're going to spend a little more time. We're going to do a 2-night investigation there.
That's awesome, dude. Hey, we should meet up in Gettysburg this year.
Yeah, well, I'm only a few minutes away.
Sweet.
Hey, Bill. I see in your book you talk about cell phones. The stupid apps on it. But have you ever encountered a paranormal event with a cell phone, or have you ever heard of it?
I haven't heard of it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some very useful tools that you can use on your phones and devices. Well,
I'm not saying ghost apps. I'm talking about actually a paranormal event that happens with a cell phone, like a phone call, phone call from someone that's not on the line, or static that might be some kind of paranormal entity. Have you ever experienced anything like that in your research?
No, I have not. In fact, I don't know if any of the guys that I even work with have mentioned anything like that to me. Although I've heard of things like that happening.
Yeah, I know. I interviewed a fella, Nick, from Westmoreland Community College in Westmoreland County, Youngwood. He taught a paranormal class that I took, and then I interviewed him for the newspaper when I worked for the Trib Total Media. He claims that when his brother died, he was devastated. Now, this is really cool. He was devastated when his brother died. And one particular summer evening, he was outside cutting grass and the phone rang. Okay. And he missed it. And the phone rang again and he missed it. Finally, he answered. He went to the phone. He actually picked it up and he said, hello. He just heard static. Hello. He just static. So he hung up the phone. And Trish, this is going, I think it was 3 times. This is what wasn't, I don't believe that was a demonic presence, but on the 3rd try, he said, hello. And he goes, Nick, like through static. It was through static because he kept on, he was cutting grass right before this happened. And he was on his riding mower and he stopped and he goes, he looked up to the sky and he said, man, Nick, I mean, his brother's Nick. Did I get it backward? Maybe it was. Maybe his name was Nick. He looked up, man, I forget his name. Let's say Joe. Man, Joe, I miss you. I have to go look at my article. I mean, I still have it. So I have the newspaper. He goes, man, Joe, I really miss you. And he says, this is so hard not having you. And then when this is on the 3rd time that he missed the phone call, so he's in the house and he's drinking a beer and he's sitting back and he, listening to the TV without the sound on. You know, you watch TV without the sound on. And the phone rang. Finally, he got it because it says unknown caller. Remember, this always said unknown caller. So finally, he picked it up and he goes, hello? And then through the static, he said, Nick. He goes, who is this? Nick, it's your brother. And he goes, I'm okay. And that was it.
That's a cool story.
I know. That was a really cool story. And that's when he got into it. And he's a professor. I think he's still a professor at Westmoreland Community College. And he teaches like paranormal stuff. But that was something with the phone. Now, you've heard of all the movies and stuff like white noise and how they communicate, like sort of with your little gadgets, you call them, the spirit boxes. But it's not like a bunch of people talking. It's just through white noise. What do you feel about white noise?
Well, I think white noise is a good building block to get EVPs. I think it helps somehow. It helps separate the EVP. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it seems to make it stand out from the background noise. Yeah, white noise. There's all sorts of white noise generators out there, and a lot of people use them.
Yeah.
I've had a few
people doing that. I mean, none of the investigators I know actually use the white noise. I think white noise, you have a better chance in that, of hearing something.
Right. Well,
I channel through it better.
Yeah.
I recently, well, I shouldn't say recently. It was a year or so ago. I bought an analog tape deck, and this device was built in 1965, I believe it was. And it has a proprietary microphone with it. And that proprietary microphone recording on an analog tape, it almost like it produces its own white noise. It's such a dirty recording microphone that it's actually like white noise in the background when you're recording. Now, I don't use it a whole lot only because it takes so long to transfer that analog audio over to a digital format to use on the computer or however I'm going to share it or review it. But it's an interesting concept. And it's interesting to me that that EVPs can be recorded digitally and through an analog source, which is kind of crazy to me because it's 2 completely different formats, and yet it still happens.
So a few things. I don't know if you all are aware, and I wasn't even aware that this existed until I was interviewed on XV Planets. It's been like 2 months ago, maybe January. If you go check out their page, he talked about in the beginning of the interview a new, it's called a soul phone. there's
The soul
this
phone.
The soul phone.
and since I looked into it, there's this Soul Phone Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization. They're doing research into it's the University of Arizona. I believe there's other universities doing it now also, as far as this research goes. And they're doing research on the survival of consciousness after death. Meaning, so they're trying to make a phone basically that you could pick up and
Oh, wow.
call.
That would be really cool.
That'd be crazy.
So it's kind of the same concept, because there's been so many times that a spirit, is contacting me from wherever, and I'm trying to figure out where they're from so I can locate. A lot of times, especially when you're dealing with, like, if it's a wraith or something that's been
Yeah.
attached to me, I have to find their grave, right? Otherwise I'm not getting rid of it. So and I'm like, man, where are they from? And I'll get a call randomly from, somewhere halfway across the US.
Oh, definitely.
And it'll show the location, but nobody will be on the line.
That's
And
the
then
thing. If you
and then
can
I look it
communicate
up.
with
Like if
them.
I look up that obituary of the name I already have because they've told me their name, that's where they were buried. And
That's
so
Wow.
that kind of tool would be great for someone like you to be able to channel through. Yeah, definitely. I never heard of that one, but I have heard about the white noise box. And I know a woman I interviewed for the paper too in Jeanette, Pennsylvania. She got hooked on using tape recorders. And
yeah.
she would just turn it on. Okay, if you're there, and she would bring all this stuff in and the evidence, and you could tell it was real. And she got it like addicted to it, and she had to learn
Yeah.
how to stop it because she opened a door where she couldn't stop. She was getting everybody,
Yeah.
all the people
Yeah.
that had lived in that house, and even people that lived down the neighborhood could channel through this box. It's just one of them voice recorder boxes. I mean, she
I
had
think
tons of them.
I think I became, at one point before I knew how to stop it, like a living
Beacon.
spirit box, basically.
I can see that, Bill.
I'm serious. I was
well,
and
yeah,
literally
you're
everything I
totally
touched,
connected to
everything,
it.
would be connected to a
It's like,
spirit.
especially like, electricity, any kind of electricity, you're probably starting, turn all the lights on in your house and you don't even have to just go buy them and they turn on. But Bill, you were talking about your research, also that I was reading on here, and I just wanted to pull up, Frank's, you were talking about Frank. Oh, I
Yeah,
can't.
Frank Sumption.
What was that? What device was that you guys are working on? I had it here. I was gonna see. I shouldn't even talk because then I lost it. Oh my God, where'd it go? Well, tell us about that. Let me see. Some of the things you experimented with, your research.
Oh, okay. Where do I start?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, most of the research that I do is on the tools that are being used right now.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The tools that you were using. Like there was one particular I wanted to discuss, but I can't find it. But go ahead and tell us a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up while you're delving into it.
Yeah, because I'm not sure which one you want to discuss.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was saying about the tools that are used, I'm talking about the tools that are being used generally by everyone in the paranormal research. Now there are a couple things that I like to play around with, and I just built a 360-degree laser scanner that I use in correlation with the Kinect camera, the version 2, to verify any findings or anything that happens on the Kinect. And the reason I did that was because the Kinect, without getting into it too deep, the Kinect uses what's called a passive infrared array, and it uses time of flight to map out the environment in 3 dimensions.
Oh wow!
And in doing that, one of the downsides is it can't detect things like mists and smoke, or even light for that matter. You could take a flashlight and turn it on and flash it right at it, and it doesn't see it because it's a passive system. But anyway, so if it doesn't, a lot of people see and document paranormal encounters, through mist, including myself. I mean, I actually have a video that I shared. That was one of the clips I sent to you. I was with Don in the cemetery, and we actually saw that. I saw this with my eyes. So the Kinect can't see mist or smoke, and I had to figure out a way to make that possible. Well, I couldn't do it with the Kinect camera itself. I'm just not that skilled to modify that camera in that way. So what I did was I built a tool that runs alongside of it that verifies its findings. And the difference between this tool is it uses an infrared laser instead of infrared emitter, and this laser is on one frequency. Well, that allows the detection of smokes and mists. It can be detected with this. So and it shows up on your screen, kind of like a radar map almost. Huh. But it only sees the environment in 2 dimensions, though, which is unfortunate, but that's the best I can do. So if something were to manifest in the form of a mist or a steam or something like that, it would be detected by the laser scanner when the Kinect just would be oblivious to it. So it's kind of like a safe switch,
Mm-hmm.
And those are the kind of things I like to play with.
Yeah, the experiments and the tests at the back of the end of the book. You have all these little experiments. I thought that was so cool that you could do these little experiments, like the battery drain experiment, or
that was amazing.
Yeah, tell our listeners about that and how's that done.
Okay, well, if you'll give me 1 second, I could share that link. I do have that entire article on my website. But anyway, I'll talk about it real quick, and then I'll post that up there if people want to read into it a little more. Basically, this is one of those things that most paranormal researchers have experienced. You're out doing an investigation, you put new batteries in your devices, and within 2 minutes the batteries are dead. And I was trying to get a handle, and it happened to me as well. I mean, it's not something I was skeptical about. I mean, I've experienced this just like everyone else. So what I did was I devised a series of tests where I was able to track the battery drainage in a controlled way, and I was able to take voltage readings every 3 minutes, plot the charts. The issue with this was time. It took, each set of batteries took about 80 minutes to drain. And I did this 3 times in the controlled environment. Then we did it 3 times in quote unquote a haunted location. Mm-hmm. I went through the data, plotted the charts, went back through the data again, plotted the charts. I probably got 18, 20 hours in this easy. And then I did this 3 times. So I combined all the data together, took the averages, plotted them on charts. And then I sent it to peer review from a fellow investigator I know in New York. His name's Mike Diamond. I sent all the exact same equipment to him through the mail with video instructing him how to do it. He did it the exact same way I did. Mm-hmm. Now, the interesting thing about this was in my results, I did the control test in my garage to where I had a control. So I, had an average. And when I took this to the cemetery, those batteries actually drained 20% faster than they did in the controlled environment, which kind of surprised me because all the batteries came from the exact same pack that I did. I bought a huge pack of batteries. But anyway, I sent this up there to Mike to New York. And, about a month later, he sent everything back and he got the exact same results, which was amazing to me. We're talking within several minutes total. And we can't figure out what it is about. In fact, he did his in a cemetery as well. So what's going on at these locations?
I have a theory.
That creates that.
I have a theory on this because I know y'all are like, oh, great, my theory's here. Did you notice a tower near the cemetery, a cell phone tower? Oh,
no. I don't know. Not this cemetery. No, this was...
Or anywhere within a few miles.
No. This was... I don't know if anyone's familiar with Pennsylvania, but this was in an abandoned cemetery in the Tuscarora State Forest.
Oh, wow.
We are literally 7 miles up a dirt road to get to this place.
Oh, well, it's the forest then.
I don't know what it is.
Well, only because you said 80 minutes, right?
The average in the control was 80 minutes.
If I'm in a forest where there's a cemetery or a haunted location, mm-hmm. It is exactly 80 minutes that I have before I have to get out of there or I'll have a heart attack. Basically, my battery's drained and my blood sugar drops.
Really?
I have 80 minutes and extremely haunted locations. The same thing happens. I have exactly 80 minutes to...
Wow.
before it affects me to that extent. Other places, it's, if I'm direct channeling constantly, not and allowing it. But when I'm in, my house, spirits around all the time. Other places, no, obviously it takes longer.
That's goes
Well, I
back
just
to being
post.
training. You got
Yeah, I
that?
just posted that link if people want to read that. I have the entire study online on that webpage there. But it was a I mean it was a lot of work, but the results, after I went over everything, I'm just sitting here and I can't figure out what it is. And it's so unfortunate because there's only so many people that are willing to take the time to do this. And what part of the if you want to use the scientific method when you do this, you have to share it with multiple people. And I can't get people to devote themselves this kind of time to do these experiments.
Yeah.
So it's
That's how
kind
I
of
am.
tough. Yeah, it's a
Um,
lot of work, but if the results were worth it because it verifies the fact that
Did you? Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say it verifies what people already know. We just don't understand why yet.
Did you document what days those were?
I have all that information on that website.
Where
on that
did you
webpage.
post the article at?
I have I posted the link on the right here on the show.
Okay,
It's in a private chat.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I can.
I put it in a private chat.
I was gonna say I can try to see if I can copy.
Yeah, I put those links in the private. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm gonna put it in.
Do you think maybe that spirits are made of energy, that they kind of like draw some more energy from them batteries?
Well,
when you were out in the graveyard.
That's what he was trying.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, you know how you said that your batteries are draining really quick in the cemetery?
Yeah, I mean they drain rapidly at different locations, not just cemeteries.
Right.
Yeah,
but
spirits are draining them, not only, right? Is that what you think, Bill?
Well, that's the hypothesis, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. And that's what I'm saying. This study shows that so far that's the case.
Right.
Until I get data that doesn't support what I'm thinking, which I haven't been able to get yet, because like I said, I guess it's going to come down to the fact I'm just going to have to go back and keep repeating this myself to get a huge catalog of data. But it was as controlled as I could make it, and I went over those results.
Pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good to me. It's happening.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about why I asked about what days of the week or planetary alignment or what phase the moon was in, because I started documenting that with myself. There are certain times, like during a full moon, new moon, everything drains either faster or slower, depending on things like that, because obviously the moon puts out a lot of.
Well, I have that here. It's actually when I did the controlled experiment at my house, that was May 3rd. And June 13th is when we actually did it at the cemetery.
What year?
2015.
May 3rd. So I'm just going to look up what phase the moon was in on. I only research these things so much because it affects my health.
I like the ESP, the manifestation experiment that you did. What is it? Where you the group projection of an object, sound, or manifestation of the form of an EMF.
Yeah, there's an idea in the paranormal research world that some people think that EVPs are actually manifested from a collective group. For instance, are you familiar with what's the name of that famous experiment in England? I don't recall the name of it, but anyway, basically it's collective thought that is able to manifest an EVP. Like, for instance, if everyone sits in a circle and you have a voice recorder running on the floor and you have a basketball beside it, and you ask everyone to focus on that basketball and repeat in their minds as loud as they can. What is on the floor? It's a basketball. It's a basketball. And people think that, you can manifest an EVP to be recorded. We've actually tried this several times. We weren't successful with it, but we tried it. And we gave it a good run. Now, we didn't completely give up on it. We just have so many other things we want to try to do. But that's the idea behind it. Is this something that we're manifesting, or sometimes EVPs manifested by our own thoughts?
Yeah. I think that's that. I mean, it's sort of like if you want something, something you
Like
can
law of
manifest it.
attraction.
Yeah,
Right.
law of attraction. What about the Devil's Toolbox? What is that?
Oh, that was something I saw on TV one time, and I thought I'd make one just to play around with it for a while. Basically, what it is, it's a cube made of mirrors, and all the mirrors are facing inward.
Yeah.
So it's a complete reflection on every angle on every side inside this device. Well, I was able to put a camera and a small light inside of here and a microphone. So it was basically a forever reflecting mirror in every direction. And the thought behind this was, whoever invented this, I never did enough research to figure out who actually came up with this, but the idea was that if you could get a spirit or a demon or something in there, they would be confused and would get stuck inside of this thing.
Yeah.
Now, that's the reason for the microphone and the camera, and that's why I put them in there. And then I started seeing, these on a couple TV shows, where they were getting sounds from inside of here and everything. And one thing I noticed was any sound that was recorded from inside that box, it sounded like you were in a tin can. But that's not what you were hearing on TV. So I knew that there was some kind of discrepancy right there. And I used it several times on investigations and just left it run. I never saw anything anomalous on the video. Most of the sounds that we heard could be identified as us talking or closing a door or something like that. There were a couple sounds that I wasn't sure about. But for the most part, it was just, I just put it together just to play with it to see what happens. We never really documented anything incredible or anything like that with it. But it was just one of those ideas that I thought I'd try.
I like the fact that you do a lot of experiments, and you like to, in the book you help people to do their own experiments, and you have a whole list of things to do, like a little test. I think that's really interesting. I like the scientific aspect of your research. I mean, I like how you want to find out what's causing, and just instead of going to a haunted house and trying to go, oh, we'll put our equipment up and see if we can get something. I like how you're really into finding, like, you remind me of Houdini. Like, he wanted to find proof, like in a scientific way. There's a lot of shows on, I think there's a show right now on Netflix about a team that they try to get scientific research to back up their hypothesis and trying to find out what's causing something. That's what I found interesting about your website and your films, and how you teach people. If you go on to YouTube channel, Dover, make sure I have this right. How do you say that? Dover Paratech. And you have so many videos on, I'm going to try. Can I play a few here?
Well, sure.
I'm trying to think of which ones. What about that shadow one? That's real short. It's only 30. You have a picture. I'm going to see if I can pull that one up. Just give me a second, because I found out. I found it very useful. Let me just see if I can get this one up. Let me just see. Pause it first before I go and share it, because sometimes YouTube is not very friendly with me. Anyways, I don't like YouTube that much. Here we go. Let me turn it on, make it big, and play.
Oh, okay. I know where this was. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have it highlighted there, but if you look on the lower left beside the chair at the wall, you'll see the shadow.
On which side? The left?
On the left-hand side, just beside the chair on the wall.
Is it? That was fast. I didn't see it.
Okay, this was at Selma Mansion here.
I saw it right now. Let me back up.
Just outside of Philadelphia.
Let me back up. On your left, by the table, the chair.
by the chair. It's just there it was.
Yeah, I saw.
It's just a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And then a little later, you'll see me walking through the hallway, and you'll see what an adult shadow looks like when it walks by.
Yeah, that was fast.
Wait,
Yeah.
go back. There's something. If you change, there's something on.
So that was you walking by right now?
Not that I'm. Oh yeah, that was. That's at the end of the clip. Yeah, I thought that was the beginning. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember ever seeing that.
No. So at the beginning, my eyes were drawn to the little thing on the table, right? And just right of that, by that chair and whatever's reflecting off that. What is that? Like a.
It's a piano behind it.
Piano. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something that has to do with that. I think if you make a still shot and because I could see it in the last, right at the beginning of the last one. If you change it looks like it's on like a face on the wall.
Let's see if I can
I'm always drawn to wherever the spirit started in a picture.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I have the ball drop video on there. And like you said, you can see there, it's still not dark yet. But yeah, this is interesting. And if you ever see these logos at the bottom of the videos, by the way, these are the people, when we get together and do investigations, that's the logo we use.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I said, the wheelchair has a cup in the seat, and I have no explanation as to how that ball came out of there. I think the camera was running for about 40 minutes when this happened. So yeah, I have no idea. But
is there any way that you could like bring that closer? There
like
you
that?
go. Like, yeah. That'd be nice. Look,
that just did itself. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's cool. Good shot.
Yeah, actually, when Don told me that that the ball was on the floor, I didn't believe him, honestly. But there it was.
That's cool. Good job.
But like I said, that was really the big thing that we documented on video. Trying to think of. See, I don't remember all the videos that I have that are public on here anymore.
Okay, here's the second hour light. This one here is battery powered.
This is
yeah, these infrared lights, that I made.
Trying to see if I can see anything else on here that's.
I don't know if the IR
what's the no reflect? What no?
Oh,
you have an
look
ESP.
at that one.
This one.
Look at that one. The no reflection. This was at historic Palmyra in upstate New York. Let me see. Oh no, that's not. This is one I was looking at that I had debunked. Fake? Yeah, I think it's some. You can see that they have white sweatpants on.
Yeah.
When they turn around. This was on taps, I think.
No comment.
Yeah. Okay. But actually, I do have that. The video. What were we just talking about?
There's an ESP. What is that on? ESP. What is that? No reflection. The
no reflection. The no reflection video is really interesting. That was upstate New York. I had a video camera, and if you'll notice, when I walk straight in front of this glass door, and I have no reflection in this glass, I'm looking straight at it. It'll slow down, and you'll.
You didn't. Yeah, your reflection wasn't there. Oh, that's weird.
It was just
well,
not
that means
there.
You're a vampire.
Yeah.
Apparently, because I'm looking straight at the glass. I can see the people behind me. I could see the people behind me.
You don't think I'm joking? That means a vampire is either attached to you, or that's. You think I'm joking?
But anyway, I just thought that was very bizarre. It was just one of those weird things that.
We could keep going back to that. I wanted to get the.
I don't know if I have the scanner one on there or not.
This mustn't be you.
No.
Okay. Let's see. Howling in Hinsdale House?
That was crazy. You could play that. This was a voice recorder we had set up outside overnight because the previous evening we had heard a crazy howl that wasn't a wolf there's no wolves in upstate New York, but it wasn't a coyote. It was just very bizarre. This was a little after, if I remember correctly, a little after 4 a.m.
That's it?
Yeah, that sounds like a Bigfoot.
I don't know what the hell it was.
That sounds like
I
a
don't know. It
Bigfoot.
Sounds like a moaning.
Here.
Have you been to Hinsdale?
We're going in September.
Okay. It's pretty secluded.
I'm gonna try to go.
Interesting place.
We're
I
looking
hear
forward
that.
to it.
That's really bizarre.
Well, here's
But this
here's
went
a
on
funny
for
thing
several
about.
minutes.
I noticed this again back to days. There's certain days. We call them portal days that make it easier for cryptids and such to travel on those days. That sounds like that's on the 7th. Every especially so not in the summer months, but in the darker half of the year. So in pagan beliefs, we have the dark half and the light half of the year, and so every fall, and it happens every single year, and there's documented cases all across the US and everywhere else in the world. On the 7th of November, on the 7th of October, on the 7th of December, and it's happened to myself and witnesses and everything else. There is a werewolf by my house and makes that same sound every single time.
I believe it.
And then
That's
you'll see all
interesting.
these,
That's
on the
interesting,
news or
Chris.
newspaper, they'll say people spotted a wolf man and all this other stuff. Yeah, but it only happens on specific days. But that sounds like a werewolf.
Now, Trish, is it possible there was a full moon at the time that was going on?
Could have been. But I go back to the Nikola Tesla theory of when you go into astrology and different days on the calendar and their planetary alignment, things like that, the numbers, more importantly, through my experience and studies, have been more meaningful almost than where the moon is.
What's that, Jen?
Just let's take a real quick pause. And I didn't mean to do that.
Yes, it is certain.
I wanted to do a shout out for Carnation for sponsoring this hour of the show. Thank you, Carnation. This is a sample of why Bill does this. Do you want to play this, Bill?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just a montage of different things that I've documented. Wow, I didn't realize that opener was that long.
Several reasons why Bill does this.
Okay.
Several photos taken back to the back.
Oh, that's Scott.
Nice.
There's a shadow person.
Nice.
EVPs. Did you catch
Are you back here?
It's definitely cool back here.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, it is really cool. It's really.
Oh, this was bizarre
Oh,
too.
jeez. I wouldn't like that. Put into a grave.
Whoa. The ground just gave in underneath me.
Oh,
That was
man.
weird.
Yeah, it was up past my ankle.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's
And she was, I said, are you excited that is coming? And oh, she crossed the rise really quick.
So that wasn't on there.
Now there's folks down
No.
in the Phelps too.
That laughter.
So,
Well, the laughter was what we heard.
Oh my.
This was one of the craziest EVPs we've ever gotten right here.
Hey, come on out. These guys came all the way from Pennsylvania to come see you. Wait, just go around there.
The thing was there were no women in that building.
So there was the woman's
Nina, we're upstairs, the second floor. We're in the room with the big boat. Or ship. The New Zealand voice box.
Mommy?
Nice.
Oh
Nice.
man. That was really freaking me out there.
I was trying to look up, and I mean, I don't believe in coincidences, so there was a reason I watched that this morning.
Time for you to move to the other side. If you don't know how, follow the light. That one was kind of hard to hear.
I heard it.
Oh, this was just one of those funny things that scared the hell out of us because we didn't know what it was.
Is that a cat?
There's a bunch of raccoons.
Oh, geez, a family of raccoons. There's a lot of them.
We just heard something rustling through the woods, and the pistols were out. We'll just say that.
That was fun.
But yeah, they were making a ruckus, climbing trees, and it's just a mess. But I just thought it was one of those funny things that happened.
That was cool.
Yeah. And they started climbing the trees and making noise in the trees and everything else.
I'm real impressed, Bill. Good job.
Ooh, static cam moving.
Yeah, this was in Flourtown, Pennsylvania. This was actually in a church.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a camera on a tripod.
That's sweet.
One of our DVR cameras.
That's cool. Good stuff there, Bill.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of odd things, man. I tell you, more than I can remember offhand. That's why I'm glad I save everything. Oh,
Now,
this was insane. This is at a church. I'll explain it here a little later.
What happened?
I should pause the video. I can explain what happened there.
Yeah, sure. The back to the church one?
Yeah. I don't know how loud the audio is. I think it went way too far.
Went too far.
Yeah, keep going, keep going. Right there. What I was doing was setting up a motion activated camera, and it was already running, but I didn't know it. And that's why I was waving my hand on it, trying to trigger it to get it to record.
Okay.
Now this is in the evening. I'm guessing, I don't remember exact time, but I'm guessing it was around 9 o'clock or so. And at the time we didn't hear it, but there's a choir singing in the background, and none of us heard this. I almost threw this clip away because I thought it was junk until I listened to it.
Let me see if I can turn the volume up.
Yeah, I'm not sure how loud the volume was. But anyway, I didn't realize it was recording, and it was.
Okay, let's see if we can hear it. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I heard that.
That gives me chills.
It was, yeah. This was another creepy one here. This was at Pioneer Cemetery. Or excuse me, Hoffman Burial Grounds.
Do you ever take, offerings to the cemetery guardians when you go to them?
No.
You should, honestly.
To be honest, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
There's always trees and elementals and sometimes gatekeepers and guardians. And
what I usually bring is tobacco and maybe some fruit.
Yeah, that crazy figure was on one frame of video there.
That's crazy, dude.
And that was with a strobe light.
Oh, look at that. You can see the figure of a man, his backs.
Yep.
And that was at Sachs Bridge in Gettysburg. There again, audio on a lot of
noise
these
for us?
Headphones work out pretty good.
Any kind of noise we know you're here?
6-6.
That's it. That was good.
That was good. Good. Nice. Real nice.
Well, Bill, We learned a lot from you
Okay, yes.
tonight.
Worrying about music
Oops.
licensing.
Okay, now it doesn't
What
want to
you
shut
need
off.
as an artist.
Did it go away? Okay. Yeah, we learned a lot from you tonight. I'm so grateful that you are on the show. I'm glad you sent me that message in the website because I got a lot of messages and I like to get the positive ones on the website.
Right.
But it was really good to have you on tonight. So
Yeah.
where do you go from here, Bill?
As far as for my
Your-
research,
Yeah.
well, actually, I don't know how much time we have, so I'm not going to get into it too deep. But I'm working on voice recorders, and we're getting back to the voice recorders and how whenever you hear skeptics talk about EVPs, the first thing they mention is, oh, it's some kind of stray radio signal or, whatever, cell phone or whatever. And during my research, I found that's impossible to happen. And that's because there's no way to demodularize a signal that's flying through the air through a voice recorder. Just don't have the equipment to do that. So if your voice recorder were to record a radio station signal, it would be in the forms of beeps and buzzes and whistles because there's no way that it was converted over to an audio signal. So it's impossible for that to happen. Now, it's not impossible for an electromagnetic signal to be recorded. It's just not going to be in the form of words. So when you're documenting an EVP, you can be rest assured that it's not a radio signal. It's not a cell phone signal or any other kind of high frequency signals. It's just not possible. And I found that out through some of my research, and that's what I'm working on through modulation. And so anyway, yeah, that's what I'm working on now. I've been working on this for 6 or 7 months now.
Work.
Using different transcoders and things like that, and understanding the oscillation of signals and the frequency modulations and the
that's
different
amazing
ways
stuff.
signals.
That's really
different ways signals are transmitted through the air and received through radios.
I should send you this this recording I have. I woke up in the middle of the night, which my TV comes on all the time, but usually it actually says an English message that I can understand. But it was probably like 3:30 or whatever, the witching hour, and my TV was on and making these weird whistle click. I mean, for quite a while. I have no idea. I assumed it was something extraterrestrial or, but I don't know what it said, and I've never been able to translate it. And it was very different. It was a different radio wave frequency type thing than. And there's a picture on the screen and everything, but it wasn't the sound from the show or whatever was, that wasn't what was playing.
Oh, so it's some kind of strange interference.
Yeah.
Or something was coming through.
So when you publish that, I want you to come back on the show.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the thoughts behind it I already have down on paper and the reasoning behind it. I just got to get into it a little deeper. And it all stems back from a series of investigation years ago when I'm not sure if you're familiar with the experiments, but people put a voice recorder and a dynamic microphone in a bell jar and extracted all the air out of there so sound can't propagate. And this recorder still recorded an EVP. Cool. So
that's amazing.
They were able to prove that at least some of the times EVPs are electromagnetic in nature only because they used a dynamic microphone, which is sensitive to that.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, we're looking forward to it.
From.
I'm looking forward to it. I want to thank you again for coming on. And
yeah, thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. I appreciate being on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining
us. It's been interesting.
Yes.
Sure.
And, I'm going to link your, I think I already have your stuff. I'm going to link it onto the website so people can come check out your Dover Paratech, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And if you want a copy of his book, let me know.
Oh, God.
There he goes. It's a likely outcome. Well, you take care, and thanks again for tuning in.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Give it right back, guys. I'm gonna let you guys have the floor for a few moments.
Hey, Trish, how are you?
Oh, so I haven't. You're the only one I sent this to a while back. I haven't used it yet because I don't do investigations in the same way. But my spy bot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this thing, that's what I was going to show Bill too. It's really cool. It's got an infrared sensor and electronic tripwire. The translucent chest flashes a warning sign when something trips the
Oh,
infrared
wow.
beam. It starts screaming a siren, and it actually chases whatever it is that trips the wire.
Seriously. Oh my God.
That's so cool. So it's an LED tripwire alarm robot, and it's a cybernetic security robot.
Where'd you get it at?
Spybot. It's a I got it at Walmart. I think it was
Walmart?
one of those things where it was up there, like as seen on TV. The things up by the
Yeah.
register that, of course,
Um,
they trick you into buying, and I'm like, hey, that might be cool. I don't ever use equipment because I'm a medium, but maybe just for the sake of research, and if it actually worked, it would be kind of cool, to.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go buy one, okay? And on our next investigation, I'll set it up.
They had different ones too. They had a spot bot that like shines a bright like a flashlight. They
Mhm.
had a Robo Bear. I'm not sure what that one does. I think it's a camera. And then a Room Guardian
Room
that you can
Guardian.
set up 2 different locations. I
Huh.
think. So yeah, but I'm excited to use this somewhere.
Put it in your house. That thing will be going off
Oh my God, I
24/7.
can't put it in my house. It would be going off all the time.
I personally, I don't like to use trigger objects. I really don't. And that's just me. I'm like you. I'm more into the mediumship. Feeling what's around me. But with my group, if they want to use stuff like that, yeah, that's great. But he was talking about EVPs, and I
Right.
knew this
That's
one guy.
different.
Yeah, but I knew this one guy, and what a lot of people did with EVPs. Okay, what they would do is they would run one, and you don't hear nothing. But somehow, if you put it on Audacity, you can manipulate that EVP as a voice speaking. Do you know what I
Huh.
mean? Yeah. A lot of paranormal groups do it. They manipulate it. And see, I can't buy it because the first question out of my mouth is, "Did you manipulate it?" And they say, "Yeah, we moved
Right.
this, we moved that." And I'm like, "Then it's not an EVP."
Right.
It's like what I want to hear is like a real voice coming over saying something. And but that's EVPs are interesting, but it all depends on how you use it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know.
Well, and the thing is, especially with people like Bill, I only work with investigative groups that, as you know, do things in a very respectful manner and are trying to do it for um, an actual purpose of
Right.
research or growth or whatever, because not just entertainment value.
Right.
I know everybody loves that, but as I said before, and that's the same thing with equipment. Sometimes, why I haven't used this spy bot yet, because I develop, especially the ones in my house, kind of a relationship with spirits and elementals and everything else. And if it were me, and there's like, think of anything. I always tell people to think of yourself. If I walked into a place and a giant robot, like I trip a wire and it starts chasing me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be scared to death. Like
Okay.
that's you know what I mean? So
Right.
imagine if you're trying to actually communicate and get somewhere with a spirit or a cryptid, and that happens, they're never in fact, they might come back and mess with you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the biggest things. But yeah, I'm constantly like Bill doing, tons of research and stuff, because a lot of it has so much more to do. It affects our environment
Right.
so much more than people realize. And I think, many times, which when I get done with this whole Atchison investigation, because there's so many places there, I've almost gotten to the point where I can prove these spirits were actually leading me to environmental phenomenons that were happening that 100% affect people's health, affect their brain, affect everything.
Right.
So it's like they're trying to warn us or tell, or but nobody takes it like that. They just take it as like a fear factor,
Right.
and so it's important.
Oh, welcome back.
I had that my baby out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, what did I miss?
We were talking about our spy bot.
Oh,
Spybot.
Yeah.
Huh?
My robot, it has an infrared light, and it chases.
It's so cute.
When
What's
you
he do?
it has an infrared sensor and an electronic tripwire, and when something trips that, it turns around and starts chasing it.
I gotta
You
get
mean,
one.
are you serious, right?
I gotta
Yeah,
get
it's a toy I saw when I was checking out at Walmart, and like
I'm gonna have to get one.
and I don't. That's what I was telling Sean. I don't use equipment because I don't.
I don't
need
think
it.
David would like that one. I think
It's gonna be a hassle.
Yeah.
So, you got any off topics before we leave, or no?
Not really.
No off topic tonight.
I do.
What's your off topic?
I have a good one, and this is something I came across today, and like everybody else is going to be like, whatever, we don't care what it says. But this, I find this highly, highly offensive, and I was shocked actually. So here's one of them: the definition in the this one's from the Oxford language. What do you call it? Dictionary. Yes. So this one says the definition of a witch is a woman thought to have magic powers, especially evil ones, popularly depicted as wearing a black cloak and pointed hat and flying on a broomstick. Verb, to cast an evil spell on. Mrs. Macharsky had somehow witched the house. And then the other one, which was in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, was even worse. Let me pull that one up. It says, a witch is a person, especially a woman, who's credited with having usually malignant supernatural powers. That's not that bad, but a woman who's believed to practice magic, usually black.
Oh,
you are wearing a black tank
you don't
top.
do that, do you? You don't practice black magic, do you?
No, and that's what I'm saying. So for a dictionary to be
rude, you should
saying
tell
that
them.
all witches
Why don't you write
practice magic,
to them and
especially
tell
black?
them.
Like every definition on the internet from major dictionary thesaurus, and okay, and then look at this. A witch is also someone who believes in the devil.
I heard that. Yeah,
That's just stereotypical stuff.
It is. It is. Why don't you write them, Trish,
see.
and tell them about it?
I know. I'm gonna. A witch, a mean or ugly old woman.
Oh,
I don't think so, there, buddy.
Yeah.
No.
Look at this. This is
That's really bad. You
another one. The verb. This is on Merriam-Webster. Actually, they're definition of a witch. Transitive verb, to affect injuriously, like to injure with witchcraft, to injure with witchcraft. Archaic, to influence or beguile with allure or charm. Also, a synonym for a witch is a hag, a hex, or a sorceress.
They haven't met you lately, have they?
Another synonym is to magnetize, kill. A synonym for a witch is to kill.
Oh, that is terrible.
That's
not right. You should definitely call them and tell them off.
This is crap. Like I was like, how are all of these? This is 2022. Okay, like.
Trish, you got to write them.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I'm gonna like
get your
start a whole.
sisters to chip in on that writing.
Oh well, my sister's not. Oh you mean my witch sister? I was gonna say my sister. She's not a witch.
No, your witch sister.
But yeah, that's like every other religion, every other culture, everything is protected nowadays as far as being discriminated against. And why is this okay? Because, you know, kids still use dictionaries, kids still look up stuff like that in their library. And no wonder it is still there's still such a stigmatism about witches and witchcraft, because there's not a single one. I talked about this with Patty last week on my show. I agree. You know, the Good Witch. I don't know of any of it's against our creed to harm anything. So the fact that whoever writes these, and it's not, yes, I get that the dictionary is really old and whatever, but somebody had to update them on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep, that's true.
Sorry, that was my tangent. I
No,
know
that's good. I was going to talk about my hot topic is about the asteroid that's going to hit Earth on April Fool's Day.
Oh wow! And what?
So-
And then watch it hit Westmoreland, Allegheny County. You know what I mean?
Yes, it probably will. It probably will. Look at that thing. It's coming to get us, guys. For April Fool's Day.
There you go.
I think all of those are parts of a bigger one is the
I'll
problem.
be watching. I'll be watching.
Yeah, well, I just want to let you know it was fun while it lasted. But you know what? I was thinking, I was watching Fox News, and there was one of the hosts there was talking about bunker sales have gone up. Seriously, I don't know if I really want a bunker if there's going to be a big bomb, because I wouldn't want to be left. All my friends are dead. You know, I wouldn't want a bunker. That's my point. I'm not going to worry about it.
Unless he's a young man and kind of cute, you know, and you can have fun down in the bunker. You know what I mean, Jen?
You're such a Why does it always go this way? No,
Well,
seriously.
it's almost 11 o'clock.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah, next week we're having Brad Kelly's an author. Really cool guy. You're going to enjoy him. He's got some really good books. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Chasing Prophecy radio program.
Yes, thank
Good
you.
night. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Oh God, he didn't put we got to get the ending on because he played it. Oh, where'd it go?